Montreal Mayor Soraya Martinez Ferrada is in studio with us. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
I appreciate you doing this, and I let people know, by the way, we're going to be doing this on a regular basis once a month, which is wonderful. So there are a bunch of questions I asked people before we got going, what they'd like to ask the mayor. But I have a couple of questions I'd like to bring up first, because it's my show. So, number one, I had a caller, Harold, I believe was the caller, who said, can we please allow Montreal motorists to turn right on red lights? We are the only major city anywhere except for New York where this is not allowed. And I said, I fully agree with you. I'm a motorist. I think we can trust motorists in the city enough to be respectful and mindful and allow them to turn right on red, just like they do in Laval. So I said, because you can't do it all at once, why don't we do a pilot project? And you think that's a great idea, right?
Well, I think that I would love to talk about it and see how we can make that work. But right now, I told you before, and I said this before, I have so much on my plate that I know that citizens need for me to worry about. And the issue of turning right on some areas of Montreal, if eventually it's something that we could do, I mean, I'm happy to look at it. But in my first year, that's not where my priority is right now.
We've been talking about this for 20 years.
I get it. But right now, I need to make sure that the city works better and more efficiently. And that means potholes. That means cleanness.
Also,
that
maybe
means
turning right on red lights. That would be much more efficient for traffic.
I get it. But for now, that takes a lot of, work from our own people in our city. And I want to put that work towards other things.
Harold, I'm sorry. Next question up. This one says, what about the audit of bike paths? Someone complaining about the fact that they set up like a Bixby thing across an entire length of a street, saying he never sees anybody there. We've had this discussion before as well. You mentioned before you became mayor that an audit would be something you would do.
Yeah.
Has any of that started, and what does it mean? And what happens?
We have 4 areas where we're doing an audit. The area of District Central in Anse-Cartierville, the one on Rachel, La Rue Rachel. The 2 other ones I'm trying to remember, I'll come back to, but we are doing the audit now, and we're waiting for the report beginning of the autumn, September, October.
My follow-up to that would have been, so you do an audit. Yeah. And let's say the audit says, you know what, we don't really need a bike. Nobody uses it. There's no bikes on it. Does that mean you get rid of the bike path?
No, what it means is that what I'm looking into is making sure the bicycle path is at the right place. Is it secure? Is it well constructed? I mean, and we just want to make sure that it's done properly. Does that mean that we can move it, that we can do something else? Absolutely. We just have to be clear on something. Bicycle path in the city has been polarizing the conversation so much in the past years. With reason. Many Montrealers don't feel that they were listened to in terms of how they were, built in the city. I want to do better in that sense. I've, announced that I was going to look into Avenue du Parc, which is very dangerous. We have to look at Avenue du Parc. I've said that I was going to rethink the project on Barrie. I said that Henri Bourassa, I have no choice. The city, the previous administration gave all the contract. There's no way for me to go back on that. So I've been clear around, trying to make sense of all what the city has done in the past and what's the future means for bicycle path. But again, in respect of everybody. And I hope that in my mandate, bicycle path will not be a polarized conversation. Because having bicycle path is a good thing for a city, right?
When it's in a place where you need a bicycle path.
Yeah, but sometimes you need a bicycle path in some areas where it has to make sense in terms of how we want to be fluid in our mobility. Yeah. But again, I don't want this to be, it doesn't have to be a polarized conversation. Okay. And I hope that our administration will do better in that sense.
Another caller wanted to know, why do we have parking meters downtown, some of them that go till 11 o'clock at night, which obviously does not help business?
You're right. And at some point, this was done again in the previous administration.
So you're going to roll that back right away?
Not necessarily. Sorry. I mean, the financial structure of a city, that gives a sense of, there's revenues attached to that. But we look in other places to help. We, for instance, dropped dramatically the cost of permits for terraces in downtown. We have many terraces this year that were put in place because we lower almost the cost to a symbol of $1 a square feet. So I think those are the ways that I can help also downtown.
Okay. Except people will bring up, as this caller did, that, it's bad enough to drive through downtown because it's such a mess right now because of what's going on. And then on top of that, you find the spot, now you have to pay till 11 o'clock at night. Something doesn't add up there. So I know you're on that, right? Yeah,
I mean, I'm on the fact that the downtown core has to be attractive, and we want people to come. Now we have a REM that comes from de Montagne to McGill. If you go downtown right now, and in the past few days, I've been myself to downtown, there's something going on that you see that people are coming back to
that's
downtown.
Called construction.
No, I'm not saying that. I mean, if you go downtown right now, there's a lot of people downtown. And even though there's construction, and I know it's something that we don't like, but we put more money quicker so we can lower the time that it's going to take to do it. So we brought it the year before it was previously planned to. So I think we're doing the right things. Now, it's ongoing construction in St. Catherine. And oh my God, are we going to be happy when it's going to be done?
Are we?
Oh, yes. And, we're going to have to address the McGill Street. McGill, it's going to have to be something that is good for downtown. That is,
in other words, not an urban forest. That's that plan.
The urban forest, the way that it was and planned, doesn't make sense in terms of public services. Picking up the garbage, snow removal. There's many things we have to ask ourselves in terms of what do we want in that street, and how do we make it a street that, again, will draw people to downtown.
Is someone working on a plan for this?
Yes.
Okay.
So we decided that we are going to revisit that.
Okay. Another one here, with generally kind of deals with downtown as well. Someone called and said, you know what, cleanliness is such an issue right now. I know that was you talked about this when you were running, when you became mayor, about wanting to make the city clean.
Yeah.
He's talking about walking by neighborhoods where people apparently don't care, and it's a giant mess and leaves, and there's stuff everywhere. And maybe that's one of those things. I often joke and I say that, you know what, being an inspector, that's a growth industry in Quebec, because they exist for everything. Maybe it's time for something like that. I thought you had a campaign at the beginning of the spring, but it's still going on now. How do we fix that?
So there's two things. There's the shared responsibility of keeping our city clean. You as a citizen have to make sure that you're not putting your garbage on the street. Keep it with you. Bring it to your house. Bring it to a merchant. Bring it somewhere else, to the garbage, not on the street. So there's a shared responsibility of cleanness. If I take my end, which is the city, we need to do better. But to do better, we need to be equipped better. More blue collars, the right equipment. A sense of cleanness also means that some boroughs, unfortunately in the summer, we can't be picking up garbage every 2 weeks. It doesn't work right now. We have to make it evolve in a way that eventually, yes, we'll get to that, because people will be recycling more and be more responsible in terms of the garbage. Right now, in some areas in Montreal, we can't be in a two-week pickup in garbage. And that's
why? Because it's too expensive? Why can't we do that?
No, because it's not a thing of it being expensive. It's a way to force people to recuperate and recycle more, to put less things in the garbage. But it doesn't work necessarily in a way where, especially in some areas, there's too many people, too much concentration, not enough space, even in the streets, to put bigger bins. So there has to be, area by area, think about how we're going to make it better in terms of the plan of the garbage.
Someone brought up the idea, which I thought made a lot of sense. Maybe it does. In terms of cleanliness, why not just put bins, as many as we can, and in as many places as we can? Kind of encourage people to say, I couldn't find a place to put my garbage, and they're not expensive.
Yeah.
Right? Why can't we do that?
We tried a couple of places. Montreal North, for instance, tried to have like these collective kind of bins that you have, and you can bring your garbage.
Okay.
But people don't respect the fact that you don't put a mattress there. So you end up with these bins that are not used the way they're supposed to be used. And you see it in Europe. If you go to Europe, there's a culture of cleanness to the urban city that is different that we have here. And we have to get there. In some areas in Europe, you'll have bins in every corner of the street, and people actually bring their garbage to the end of the street.
Great idea.
I know, but we don't have this. We don't necessarily have the space here, and we don't have this culture of being clean the way that some other...
It's like we need a public awareness campaign to let people know this is how it has to happen.
We have to do that. Absolutely. And it starts by the mayor saying, Yes, I will take my share of responsibility, but you have to take yours. If you move on the 1st of July and you leave all your garbage on the side of the street, why is collectively are we responsible for your garbage? You should be responsible for your garbage. If you move and you put everything on the street, things that you can actually bring to an eco center, things that you can actually donate, why should we all collectively be responsible for your garbage? So there has to be a sense of, yes,
it's a shared responsibility.
It's shared responsibility. Yeah. And I'm going to take my part, but citizens have to take their
All right,
theirs.
We're going to take a very quick break, and then I'm going to take some phone calls.
Listen, and you're there for heart-wrenching knockouts.
World's biggest stage.
And breathtaking triumph. 2026 FIFA World Cup. The knockout stage. Every match, every moment. Listen on TSN Radio. Join the globe on the road to the July 19th final. 2026 FIFA World Cup. Stream it all live on TSN Radio. Available on iHeartRadio. Hear it live. Weekdays from 2 until 6. Or hear it now. You're listening to the Montreal Now podcast with Aaron Rand.
All right. We have been very graciously given some more time by the mayor. So if you would like to ask a question of Soraya Martinez Ferrada, now is the time. We got about another 6 minutes to go. 790-0800. Let me go to the phone. I believe Pat is on the line. Hi, Pat.
Hey, hi.
How are you?
Good.
What is your question for the mayor? This is why we need the headphones. My bad. Sorry.
Quick question. Just a little. I've heard the mayor say that for the asphalt we need better equipment to fix up the potholes.
Right.
And all that. Isn't that taking care of the problem after the fact? Why don't we get more competent contractors to do the job right in the first place? Or maybe
I'm not going to answer for the mayor. I'm not going to answer, but didn't you got rid of some existing contracts and decided to go ahead and do this on your own, right?
We did both. So we send more money to the boroughs. Potholes are responsibility of the boroughs. And we send more money to the boroughs.
For them to do it.
For them to do it locally. Right. In some areas, they bought the equipment. Some areas, they hired more people. So everybody will, depending on where they were, they did the job. And we also gave contracts to 2 specialized teams that we put in place to come and help. And we're working for, as you know, we have a big cyclist event end of September. Right. So we have to make sure that our reputation is on the line in terms of making sure that our streets with all where the cycling path is going to go, that they're
Are
good.
you happy with the way things are going in terms of the pothole situation, which was such a big deal?
Yes, I mean, of course, people were really surprised. I mean, when you look at all the investments that have been done in the past in terms of maintaining your streets, I'm not surprised of what we got this year in terms of, potholes. It's in fissure on a crack in that's not been maintained, and then the water gets in, and then you get a pothole. So when you have many years of not maintaining those streets and those roads, that's what we got this year. Now, I'm confident that we have to increase the amount of money that we're putting on potholes and streets and maintaining our streets, not doing patchwork, because patching a pothole will last maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then you have to do it again.
Oh, yeah. By the way, are you having a decent relationship with Marquise right now? Do you speak?
Well, I mean, I think having somebody like him is a Montrealer that wants to help. And I think all Montrealers want to help. What he's doing is patching some holes. He's doing a couple a day. And I think it gives a sense of pride of citizens being involved in the city. But we're doing about maybe 15, 20,000 a week, that's the reality. So we have to recognize the work from our blue collars and our boroughs. Okay. And I think that's also, it's important. And the work that has been done probably will last longer because we have the better equipment. We have better bitumen. But I do recognize the fact that somebody like him should give an example to other citizens to get involved and help.
People love this guy, by the way. You know that already.
Absolutely. So, absolutely. And I also, I appreciate the gesture and the pride of doing the work that he's doing. But it is important that they do the work in a way that it's going to last.
Back to the phone. This is Lisa. Lisa, what's your question for the mayor?
Hello.
Hi, go ahead.
Hi. My question is regarding these recycling bins, the brown bins for the food and the other ones that's recycling. Like on our street, there's so many of those bins that are just all broken that the truck, when they pass, they can't even pick up those bins to put it in, and half of the stuff just falls on the floor. The food and the recycling. Like across the street, an example, we have like an apartment building, like there's like 2 of each. Like for 8 apartment buildings, I think they need more of those bins. Like, are those things free? Can we get them from the city? Or like, how does that work?
Okay, so the compost cycling bins, they're not free.
The compost bins,
yeah, they have ones. To. So people have to get them. In some areas, boroughs have been giving private contracts for picking up those bins, the brown ones. Not all boroughs are the same. Not all people are doing the work in terms of doing the brown bins. It is something that we have to look at because it drives to the fact that we need to less have garbage at the end of the day. If you're doing more compost, if you're doing more recycling, then you're going to be doing less garbage. Now, there's a lot of work to be doing in terms of all the boroughs and making sure that the services that we're giving to citizens are the same from one borough to the other. But in respect of the urban landscape of every borough, if you have a borough where you don't have the space to put the bin, so you have to think about, okay, how the citizens are going to be doing the compost if you don't have the space to put the bins. So there has to be a work of every borough, and I know it's something that's one of the more complex issue is the garbage and the recycling and the brown bins in our city.
Okay. So how are you enjoying being mayor so far?
I really like it. I really do think that I chose to come here. I chose to leave everything that I had in terms of my other political life to come and do this. And I think, I'm doing the best I can with the heart at the right place, and not because I want a political job, because I really do want to serve our city and my city. And I really feel that I'm at the right place at the right moment for what the city needs. Good to hear.
I will just bring up a couple of points that have been brought up as well. Yeah. Some good things, not things bad things. Cavendish Boulevard, the announcement last week, 3 parcels of land have been bought up. So the question is, that's great news. First time in like 60 years that there's been any good news. What does it mean longer term?
Longer term, it means environmental analysis, structure in terms of financing for the infrastructure. What does that mean? So I will need more patience, unfortunately, again, because that takes time. There is an issue around the agglomeration, like how we're going to pay for this. So there's a lot of questions still to have around that. But
you're confident?
Think I am, because I think at the end of the day, it's just a good social and economy project. Okay. So I'm confident that we'll get there.
By virtue of that, quickly, Hippodrome, what's happening at Hippodrome?
So Hippodrome, it's also very complex. As you know, it's a really, really big land. That's going to take a lot of investment in terms of infrastructure, water, sewers, electricity. So it's a combination of that and that complexity that makes it a bit less rapid, because we do need Quebec to get involved in terms of financial support.
I thought Quebec gave you the land, right?
Yes.
So you own that now for the dollar that it costs to own it.
But then it's the cost of infrastructure. It's a whole city within a city that we're doing in Hippodrome. So there is conversation with the
provincial and federal.
Well, yes, both, because infrastructure is a combination of federal and Quebec. But now, as you know, we're going to an election in the provincial level, so we'll have to see how that goes. But there is the huge possibility of having a great area to be developed in terms of commerce and residential transportation, and hopefully opening Cavendish.
I'm going to take one last call. This is Dario on the line. Dario, what's your question for the mayor?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Ryan. I'd like to start by congratulating the mayor on an excellent, well-deserved victory. The question basically relates to the rate of taxation. Is there some way that we could just get an idea of whether in the future the taxation rate on property, that basically landlords pay, is going to be kept the same, or is there going to be changes in other directions?
So I'm going to give you an answer that you will not like, because at the end of the day, I have to be responsible in terms of what I think the city needs. And the only way to give what the city needs is having a hard conversation on the financial structure of the city. Right now, we have an anticipated deficit in our city, which is huge. It's more than $350 million. And we have to bring that to zero. So there's a lot of work to be done. We have a lot of money to put in our streets, in our roads. You see it. I mean, we talk about potholes and we talk about all that. And at the same time, we have to be efficient in terms of having our garbage picked up. And we have to be also a city that is an international city that needs to be investing in their own attractiveness in terms of international. So to tell you today that our taxes will not go up or will not be looked at wouldn't be fair from my part. I've committed during the campaign that I would, look at the inflation rate and make sure that we're following the inflation rate. And we have to make sure that everything that we're doing will be explained and will be talked to citizens. But I don't want to give the impression that I'm going to lower taxes because that's not what I'm
So don't look for a municipal tax cut anytime soon.
I don't think that wouldn't be the responsible thing to do.
We'll leave it at that. I know you got to go. I could tell because you're standing up now. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you. And I'm coming back in a month. So.
Yeah. So we'll do this again.
Yes.
And we very much appreciate that as well. Montreal Mayor Soraya Martinez Ferrada, thank you.
Listen, and you're there for heart-wrenching knockouts.
The world's biggest stage.
And breathtaking triumph. 2026 FIFA World Cup. The knockout stage. Every match, every moment. Listen on TSN Radio. Join the Globe on the road to the July 19th final. 2026 FIFA World Cup. Stream it all live on TSN Radio. Available on iHeartRadio.